started. It's another exciting evening of Get Rominger on the phone. We're not taking any calls tonight, but I want to do a little rundown, okay? As you recall, last show I did Getting Our Political Act Together. We can consider this part 2 of that adventure or misadventure, as you may consider it. So I'm going to run through a few topics from the news today, and I think they're worth talking about. Alex Jones. Terrible things happen to those families because of him. The parents testified that people were urinating on their child's grave, okay? There are a bunch of whack jobs out there. Right-wing whack jobs, left-wing whack jobs. The Alex Jones whack jobs, the conspiracy theorists who were so concerned that these kids were crisis actors, were urinating on the grave. Well, because they weren't really urinating on a grave, according to them, because there was no dead child in there. In fact, they threatened to dig that grave up. Where did they get that idea from? From their leader, Alex Jones, from their media source, Alex Jones. And I get so mad because the three wise men of Facebook in particular seem to think that Alex Jones, oh, he was just a guy and he said some things and how it's his First Amendment right to make this stuff up. Remember when I did that test and I said, well, I'm just going to pick one of those guys off of Facebook and, he can sign up and sign a release and then just let me tell the world that he's a pedophile? Because if it's just words, who cares, right? But none of them wanted to sign the release. And let me tell you guys which one of them was the pedophile. Remember that? Because if we did that, right, what would happen? Oh my God, all these people are calling me and they're keying my car and somebody attacked me in the street, all because you said those things about me. Well, hey, it was my First Amendment right to make it up about you, right? Because who cares about the consequences? Consequences be damned. Because that's the attitude the Alex Jones followers have and his defenders. And if you defend Alex Jones, you're just a damn sicko, okay? All right. So he jumped trial, flew away, isn't going to defend himself. That way, when the verdict comes in at like $18 billion or whatever ridiculously large number, he deserves to have held against him. He'll claim it was done in absentia and not fairly. And a bunch of you wackadoodle conspiracy theorists will think that's just, well, oh yeah, absolutely what happened. Alex Jones wasn't allowed to present a defense. He was denied the First Amendment because it's his First Amendment right to make up stuff about dead kids and their parents. Shame on you. Shame on you. Murder! Hershel Walker killed a baby. Well, he was in a conspiracy to kill a baby because he sent a check, right, for $700 to a girl so she could have an abortion because they were pregnant together in 2009. He just had another out-of-wedlock kid and didn't want to have like a fifth out-of-wedlock kid at the moment, or however many he's got that we know about. I think we know of 4, 3 that he didn't disclose before because he's really opposed to absentee black fathers, except when he's the absentee father. And his son Christian has come out and told us this, right? That he's a terrible dad. And he just wants him to tell the truth. But anyhow, he told Sean Hannity he got this card. He just sent a card to a lot of people, get well cards, and he sent money to a lot of people. So probably this girl got a get well card from him a few days after her abortion with a check for $700 in it because he doesn't know why. It could have been any reason he sent it to her. And if you believe that, I've got a bridge I want to cite. It's called the Brooklyn Bridge and some swampland in Florida that I'll throw in on the side. All right. And don't worry about these deeds. I can pass good title with a napkin because obviously you're pretty damn gullible. Or, well, what I want to know is will he imprison himself for murder, right? Because he's the guy that says it's murder. I did it, but it's murder. Well, and maybe he's had to come to Jesus and he used to put guns to women's heads. He used to do all kinds of crazy stuff. Maybe he's a fit senator, right? Right? The problem with Herschel Walker is he's one of the Trump picks for Senate. Remember, Senate went Democratic in Georgia because of President Trump's meddling in the last election for senators 2 years ago. Whether you believe that or not, it's true. It doesn't matter what you believe because some of you just choose to believe whatever wackadoodle thing will allow you to maintain this weird view of the world that you like to have. But the simple truth of the matter is Mitch McConnell and any other Republican with half a brain, myself included, will tell you Trump cost the Republicans the Senate. All right. So just ask Mitch, right? Herschel was one of his picks. Dr. Oz may yet make it. Remember, I voted for Oz because Trump told me to, just like you did, right? I did not vote for Mastriano because he's a fascist, homophobic, anti-Jewish, anti-pole dancing, anti-pole dancing. He's going to get it out of our high schools. Anyhow, that's another Trump pick, right? So Hershel is one of these Trump picks. There's a guy in Arizona. There's people in Wisconsin and Michigan and all over the country that Trump has put up through the primaries who probably are not going to make it through the general election. So my prediction is still that the Republicans will take the House of Representatives, but not by a wide margin. And we'll lose the Senate by probably a couple seats, if not more. So expect to see dismal results for November. And there's a lot more coming on the Trump front, I am certain, right? Trump's not doing so well with his special master. He's not doing so well with the courts right now. And, well, let's just skip for a second down to the Proud Boy defense, okay? I mean, who doesn't go to Washington, D.C. for a nonviolent rally and pre-position guns across the river with a rapid deployment force to bring the guns over just in case you need them, right? Because you're just going there to like support the president. You're not going there to overthrow and make sure no matter what happens. Well, maybe you put it in text messages that no matter what, you're going to make sure Joe Biden doesn't take power. But the Proud Boys have said that part of the reason that they did what they did and thought it was okay to do what they did was, well, they thought the president wanted them there and was going to give them the order under some archaic law to act as a militia to help in the coup, or in this case, prevent the coup as they saw it. Oh. Nonetheless, the question, the million-dollar question is, at the trial, will the Proud Boys bring out some evidence of authorization from the president or encouragement from the president to say to the jury, we weren't there to do anything bad. We were just there because the president needed us and wanted us there. Watch the Proud Boys trial over the next 6 weeks. I think some nuggets are going to drop, and not from the government, but I think from the defense. I think the defense is going to say, hey, here are our connections. May not happen. Could be speculation on my part, but that would be the defense I would want to run with if I had it. And as you guys know, I do know a few things about defending these kinds of cases. Which brings us back to what I was talking about a minute ago, Trump deep sixing the party, right? And Red Rum, Herschel Walker aborting babies, at least by stroke of a pen, paying for it, conspirator, co-desirer of the abortion, right? And remember, rich white and black guys, rich people will always get their abortions, right? I mean, that's the truth, right? Oh, we have to go to Zurich or someplace, we'll get it done, right? Hey. But you poor people, you must live a certain way. And remember, Doug Mastriano here in Pennsylvania will have the state police car out front if he thinks you did what Herschel did. Okay, so what's going on with my friends in the Republican Party? I've always been more of the humanist wing of the Republican Party, more the secular wing. We see this going on in Iran right now. Little girls are being mowed down and run over by the security forces because they're taking their headscarves off because that's religious law. And all you guys that complain about Sharia law and the dangers of Sharia law seem to want to get behind this Christian nationalism stuff. That's where these crazy, wacky religious dictators come from. They come from fundamentalist viewpoints like that. So if you think that Doug Mastriano should be the governor because he's going to reign with the sword of Christ and all this stuff, then you are exactly the person who would love to be in Iran if you were a Muslim, right? Because you love religious law. You love oppression of people and stoning people who eat shellfish, right? But we can all agree on basic morals and basic family values, right? Or at least some sort. But the Republican Party has cast this new bargain, right? Trump, he slept with some girls. He says he grabbed a woman by the pussy. Whatever. Who cares? He got his conservative Supreme Court justices, right? So we're happy with him. And now we're happy with Herschel Walker because, well, he put a gun to a woman's head, but he says those were demons and Jesus helped him out, so it must be okay. Well, then we found out, well, maybe he treated his kids terribly, and maybe he didn't acknowledge some kids, and maybe he lied, and maybe he ran around and said he was in the FBI, but he wasn't. Oh, and maybe he spent $700 on an abortion, in the last 12 or 13 years. But hey, he's still our guy because he represents what we used to say that people weren't fit for office. Bill Clinton got that BJ in the White House, and we were really worried about that because that was very upsetting. And it was scandalous, and a person of those morals could not lead. But now all of you who used to say that say, oh, no, we need a good, solid man like Herschel Walker in the Senate. We need it. Carl, you can't vote against Doug Mastriano because otherwise you're going to put this other liberal Democrat in. And so it doesn't matter if he's to the right of Attila the Hun. It doesn't matter if he wouldn't attend his sister-in-law's wedding because she'd been previously legally divorced, but in God's eyes, she wasn't divorced, right? You should not consider any of that. He's a very reasonable man. He's not going to, oh, yes, he is. He's going to do everything he says he's going to do, which is ban abortions, criminalize it, and no exceptions for the life of the mother, like he said, right? But it's okay because you guys are making this bargain. But you know what? You never walk away from a deal with the devil smelling like an angel or living like an angel or as an angel. And you'll be forever marked by that. And the Republican Party's day of reckoning is coming. I'm a Republican, but I might have to join Liz Cheney's second party. She's pretty conservative too, but I don't think she's in that wacky religious fringe element that seems to be controlling 20% or 30% of the Republican Party, but also controlling the apparatus currently, bringing us these wackadoodle candidates, okay? So Doug Mastriano's starting some fasting. Hopefully he'll be producing less BS if he's not putting things in him, right? Maybe he's just trying to get back into that Confederate uniform. Maybe he's gained a little weight on the campaign trail, and if he could just lose 20 pounds, he can get back into his Confederate uniform, right? What I'd really like to see is Doug Mastriano on the stage with Herschel Walker in his Confederate uniform, and then you guys explaining to me why this is all okay, and Herschel saying, oh, yeah, it's great. And then Doug asking him whether or not he paid for the abortion. No, Doug's not going to do that because Doug's part of this complicit deal too. We'll just pretend that morals don't matter, even though we told you for years they do. You can't have it both ways. You really can't. But that's the path you've chosen. Same with media, Tucker Carlson, right? We used this one. We used this one last time with Tucker. It just applied today, so I kept it, right? He was friends with Hunter Biden, right? Devil, you know. But hey, you guys love Tucker now because he has your morals now that he's done getting his letter from Hunter. Maybe he doesn't do coke with Hunter anymore. Maybe he never did coke with Hunter. We'll never know. But you guys believe he's one of you. Just like you think Mitt Romney and his dressage horse is one of you. Although you don't like Mitt Romney now. A few years ago, you guys loved Mitt Romney, which is why I still am convinced within 2 years, you might all be yelling at me saying Liz Cheney's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Ukraine is winning it right now. Quite hands down, just pushing the Russians out. Russians are a paper tiger. No offense, China, right? Proud Boy Tucker, Putin Proud Boy Tucker is not going to be telling you about that on his show because he thinks that, we should have just capitulated to Putin because there's something in it for him, or maybe that's really just his political belief. He's the Neville Chamberlain of Fox News, beyond a shadow of a doubt. If you don't know that reference, look it up. Look it up. If you don't know the reference, you probably shouldn't listen to my show. Okay. Putin, Proud Boy Tucker, won't tell you what's really going on over there. Now, there's the danger that Putin, cornered, might use nuclear weapons. But did you guys not learn anything in your history or civics class that when you capitulate to dictators, they keep taking more? We let him take Crimea. We let him take this. We let him take that. You lived in Estonia, you'd live in fear of him. In America, across the big pond, we should live in fear of him too, but we must defend. And we must send a message to China about Taiwan. But I just want to congratulate the Ukrainians on their win today and point out that the naysayers a few months back kept saying on my Facebook page, we're wasting all this money on them and we should just let Putin do his thing. And then one of my crazies thinks that Putin actually blew up that gas line because why would he do it? Well, of course he would do it. It's energy security. He's not making any money on it right now. He knows it's going to get repaired before it gets turned back on. And he doesn't need to. Now, of course, the Saudis and the Russians are getting together on oil price, but that's a topic for another show. All right, guys, just remember, Alex Jones, scumbag. And if you say something nice about him or defend him, then you are probably the same kind of scumbag.